Summit? Hey, folks. Can you hear us? You can? I can't read lips. I wish I could.
Nothing changed. Sounds like a permissioning thing or something.
Something changed,
nothing
and I
changed from your-
can't figure out why Danielle can do it. You are now the host, so now let me see if I can. You're restricted from screen sharing in this meeting,
Well, you sound better.
but I'm not. I'm in under. North
Angie,
Carolina
can you see us?
Town offices.
Yes. Lisa's in the, yes, I can see Lisa now and Jim.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's try this one.
So is that Michael at the end of the table who I see?
Yes.
Okay, so we have everyone but Pat. But it's 5:29, so still some time.
And Pat's joining, virtually.
Yep.
Yes. With her grandson, potentially. Yep. Sure.
Don't know that I'm gonna be able to show screen.
Do they have access to all the documents?
And they were, everybody had, they were all.
I do.
emailed. Yeah, do you guys have all the documents? I have all these copies
Yep.
that I'd made for you guys.
Yeah, I'd made a copy, but I have to get one of these to read it.
Hi, Pat, can you hear us
Excuse
okay?
me.
Pat's on our phone. But she's muted.
I can hear, thank you. And
Okay.
I'm sorry, I might lose you all if we run out of service. We're near Plattsburgh, sorry.
Okay, just travel safely.
Thank you.
I just don't understand.
Logged in twice.
Well,
Under your
this is
personal
logged
one?
and I'm logged in here. And I tried to log in under my personal, but it keeps going to the other one. So
So what's the cloud with the red dot in it?
that's the recording. That's me recording. So
Start.
let's do that. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, it's 5:30 something. We'll call the capital improvement plan committee meeting of August 27th, 2025 to order. Any adjustment of the agenda in terms of additions or deletions from anyone?
I have nothing.
Fine. Hearing none, we'll go on to public comment.
We have
And
no
I
pub.
don't believe we have anyone other than the committee members present, so we'll move on. Item number 4. Excuse me, feedback from select board on submission of a revised CIP program.
So we submitted after we made all the changes and I created a document that compared the two so that they could see, I think you all saw that, and they were fine with it. They signed off on it and approved it. Didn't have any questions or concerns.
Thank you for following up with that,
Yeah.
Lisa. Any comment from anyone regarding that item? Okay. Item number 5. Review ranking model of 2026 projects.
I couldn't print the ranking model.
Big.
It's big.
Doesn't print friendly.
And unfortunately, for those of you on Zoom, I can't share my screen. It's telling me I'm restricted. And I'm not sure.
Just looking for the email, yeah.
So Pat, do you not have the email?
She'd have a hard time, I think.
I have it.
Okay.
I have-
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know, if anybody had a chance to look at it beforehand,
Mhm.
This was, this is really the first real year, so, we have to probably pay a little more attention, but I think it's always good to, be happy with what the results are, at least understand how we got there, and also if we continue to like the way we're approaching it, in terms of, ranking of the categories, for example, and treatment of the funding sources, I think it still looks pretty good, but always want to learn and do things better. And-
This is Jim. A couple of observations. One, and we sort of talked about this before, so here there are projects that have 2 funding sources. So projects with 2 funding sources in effect garner more points than projects with only 1 funding source. In the case of the library where it's grants and donations, that's great, all good. But others where it's part of reserves, which is worth 3 points, and part of budget, which is worth 3 points, they're getting 6 points, which actually would be more than a project, or score better than a project that was 100% from donations, which would get a single 5 points. So similar to what we did before, should there be an averaging factor or something on those sources? I don't know, just throwing that out there based on the example I gave.
Good point.
Yeah, really, I think a lot of it has to come from the departments because they have to determine what the argument is for, what the case is for the project. Adding, 3 items, 3 reasons for doing something is better than 1 potentially, depending on it. Again, we can get into, reviewing or readjusting the calculations. Like we did with the grant funding, where we actually did kind of a proportional effort, for the percentage of the grant funding became like a booster of that
Yep.
percentage. And we can certainly look at a way to take that into account or take some weighted average or something, but I personally think it's important to make sure that you've certainly, items that have more of a case for it, I think should,
Yeah, I
should
agree.
score higher and do better. The question is, yeah. go
I'm
ahead.
talking funding sourcing. So
Yep.
based on the current model, if I look at it correctly, a project that is 100% by donations would score 5 points. It would have a single funding source and score 5 points. A project that was partly funded out of reserves and partly funded out of budget would score 3 and 3, therefore 6 points. So does it make sense that a budget, a project that is not going to cost the town anything because it's 100% donations would get fewer points than a project that was going to be funded partly out of budget and partly out of reserve fund, which would give it 6 points? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly, you
Good
know,
question.
we could certainly try to do something similar where something
We
that
just
is,
Average.
you know, donations, right, where
Get a higher,
percentage of donations or give it a boost. Or
Or-
go to the percentage, or, you know, like percentage review like we did for the grants.
Yeah.
The more the
Yep.
grant donation, the higher the boost.
Or is it as simple as you take the funding sources and if there's one, well, that's what it is. If there's two, you average them. And that's the score they get. It gets a single score that's an average. And then you still get the grant percentage booster. So if part of that is that, yeah, there's a grant, you would still get that grant percentage booster exactly the way you're showing it.
I can take a look at it, and look at, you know, run a couple, you know, think about a couple of scenarios.
Mhm.
But I'll have to check and see, you know, what it looks like for an average.
Yeah.
You know, if it's, you know, maybe it has a different point value, or maybe it has, you know, something else, but, you know, if, I guess the point is, I don't know if it should just be, you know, an average, even if it's 3,
Right.
right? Because the numbers are so close together, an average isn't gonna really change things all that much. Right? If you've got numbers that are fairly close to each other, right? It's not like we're talking about a number of 50, 100, and 2.
Hmm.
Talking about 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So the
Well, that
magnitude
gets-
may not be
that-
that much.
That gets to my second observation, which is that the 2 library projects, I think they were the library projects. Yeah, and this is not a critique on the library at all, but I guess it's the library project and the community hall. There's 2 projects that score extremely well, or maybe it's the first 2 projects. But then when you really sit down and look at it, well, is that more important than or significantly more important than the fire hall or the public works garage? That was kind of what struck me, that those projects scored very, very high, almost disproportionately high. And maybe the funding thing takes care of that, because all the top scoring projects did very, very well on funding. They got 10, 8, 8, 8 for the first 4 projects, 8 down the line for a bunch of them. I don't know, it's just an
There
observation.
wasn't that much of a difference, yeah.
I haven't really been able to come to a conclusion. It was just an observation I made.
Mhm.
I'm trying to
No,
figure out
that
the
is
implications.
correct. Yeah, that is definitely correct. That definitely did happen.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to go through it for reasonability, right? And make sure we like it. And, you know, I've said in the past that you can make this say whatever you want. So you
Right.
have to really be happy with your criteria and kind of stick with it or adjust it, you know, professionally in the way you want to do it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so,
Go ahead, Angie.
That's okay, I don't want. Here's the other thing, and it's an observation from another place, but when we, and it's about the donation amount as part of the total cost of a project. And this is notwithstanding the library, but we don't have really any idea, or we probably do, but we don't have any idea what the, when we check the donation box on the document. Well, yeah, we do, we list it, don't we? How much money, how much is going to be donation, how much is going to come out of other sources, whether it's a grant or budget or something else, or, you know, some sort of a levy. So that you know, I just think at some point that's going to become, I mean, that to me is a little bit more important. That to me is rather important. I don't really know I know what the donation pieces are for the library, but I don't know very much about the others. And maybe we shouldn't, but somebody should, because it could be, you know, $10,000 And we always had sort of a threshold if we were gonna move a project forward and it said donations, you knew a little bit about what that meant. So that's
Yeah,
just
well,
my
it'd be
comment.
helpful to get the number of donations. Sometimes they're just prospective, right? They're not donations
That's
that are in
right.
hand.
You don't know, you
right?
don't know
So-
yet, right? You just have a number,
Yeah.
you know you have to hit.
And
Or at least
it
the
may
percentage,
not come in.
Yeah, the percentage you have to hit. It
Hmm.
may not come in, you're right.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, looking at the fire hall, they're collecting donations. It's not going to be significant, but that's not currently reflected in the model. And if you did, if you
Yeah, I
gave
think-
them
I think-
5 for donations for the $25,000 on a $5 million project, that would distort the ranking.
Yeah, so certainly magnitude of something can certainly, we can work something in like that, like we did with the grants.
Hmm,
But certainly in the fire station, I mean, and the numbers are so big that
right.
it would have to be a very large donation to move the needle.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
In that particular
So just-
case, another variable is the vote. I mean, the bond vote could go down, for example.
right.
A lot of it's out of our control, or really anyone's control.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember when we were talking about the model initially, just in terms of the weighting of the different areas, like finances, for example, like to your point, Jim, if something came in that's entirely funded without taxpayer money, should that get a higher value than something that relies in part or whole on
Hmm.
taxpayer funded resources?
Yeah, and Frank has accommodated that by having the grant percentage booster, which reflects money not having to come from the town.
Okay,
Now, I think that's
And
just,
I think it worked, but then when the second source came in, that's what threw it up over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
when you start
So,
getting
it-
multiple
If
sources.
it was all just one source, it would have fell in line, but that second source boosted that point number over the donation number. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and these are little idiosyncrasies
Yeah.
of the process.
yeah,
that-
so, yeah,
And that's why we wanted to do it, was to try to
Yeah.
give us a
exactly.
a way to
framework.
look at it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so we'll
adjudicate.
have to look at that second source and what that actually does to the
Yeah.
model.
I mean, if there's a number, if there's I don't think we asked for it, but an amount of donations,
Yeah, we didn't
right?
ask.
We didn't ask, and, we could go back and ask, I guess, but,
Hmm.
and try to do a similar percentage,
Like we do for
Oh.
grants.
component to it, but I would think
Yeah.
that typically donations are probably smaller than grants in terms of the contribution percentage.
Agree.
And so, I think we just have to, I'm happy to do whatever we want to do. We just have to figure out what we think that is worth.
Yeah, how it works. Yeah.
Time wise.
Yeah, and I think to Michael's original point, I think we figured the way we would understand the model better is by using it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, anywhere, if, the general theory was if there are more ways to pay for it, the better. Those are gonna
Yeah.
score higher,
Agree.
right? And, we can talk about whether coming out of the budget or bond, I mean, those have low point values, but
Mhm.
this is why we talk about it and try to improve it.
So Frank, could you do a weighted average? So if something was 20% donations and 80% grants, it's 0.2 times 5 and 0.85 times 5, so you still get a 5. But let's say it was 20% reserve, well, 20% debt and 80% reserves. Would that be, I was just going to do a straight average of however many. So if there were 3 funding sources, just do a straight average. But a weighted average
Yeah.
might even be
Weighted
better.
average is very doable, definitely. Yeah.
That would
But
really
we-
reflect it. And then you put your grant booster on the grant portion and the way you're doing now, and that might bring
Well-
things more into line. Interesting.
Yeah, weighted average is definitely possible. You can fool around with it and see what it looks like, run a draft.
Well, Jim, I'm gonna back up a second and go back to your original question. based on the question you asked, do you think the results as we currently have them are anything like one project bumped higher than another or something?
Not particularly. I was just kind of quite surprised that smaller projects seem to rise to the top more easily. And do we risk, if we don't understand whether that makes sense or not, do we risk that the model is somehow making it easier for smaller projects and we never get to the big projects because the small projects keep coming to the top of the pile and getting approved? That was kind of what's really at the back of my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also don't know
Oh,
how the select board's gonna prioritize them, right? We're giving them, this analysis and saying,
Yeah,
we're not choosing the projects, you are.
yeah.
And, we know that so as long as it passes, the fire station's gonna get done and the garage.
Hmm.
Doesn't pass, doesn't happen.
Yeah. So for example, funding aside, and again, not a slag on the library, if people said that somehow a shed for used books for the book sale scored almost twice as high as a new fire station, does that make sense?
I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to this, but I wouldn't look
I'm
at the
just-
two at
I'm
all.
just
I would
again-
look at the two at all the same.
Yeah.
Economically, yes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Numbers wise, yes,
Number wise, yeah.
right?
Numbers wise, yes, I agree. But
Sure.
again, it seemed that the smaller projects were the ones that, well, that's not true because the water system ranked
Pretty
number
big.
2, didn't it? It was an impression, not to say that it was a correct impression. No, you're right. Projects 2 and 4 are expensive.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And I think honestly, if we don't do something, whether it's a library, the community hall, or some other small, sort of small entities within our town, they don't have much of a chance of getting anything else. And so
I
the
agree.
idea of, growing their ability to have donations. And frankly, the book sale, the reason the shed's built is because despite the town's wonderful offer to do the book sale there, we lost money. The
Yeah.
library brings about $5,000 a year in on book sale dollars. And
Yeah.
we didn't hit that the last couple of years. Anyway, it's small potatoes, but
So
it means a lot
look-
to a small group.
look-
Yeah.
Looking at the sheet again, my initial impression was wrong because while projects 1, 3, and 5 are small, projects 2 and 4 are big. So it just
Yeah.
shows that the mix there is a mix in there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's some low hanging fruit, right, that can
Yep.
be banged off, and there are some bigger projects that, are big deals in the community, right? These,
Yeah.
these new construction projects are, baseline important things for the town, but
Yeah.
they're also very expensive.
Yeah. And the water projects float up because of their funding.
That's right.
Right.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Oh, so
And frankly, we're all trying to emulate the community hall and their ability to take care of buildings
yeah.
and be good stewards of them, frankly.
Mhm.
Just like I think the water department does a good job too, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
No, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it and come back.
That was some good
Appreciate it.
discussion. Pat, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I do have a comment, and I agree with the weighted average concept. Hopefully, maybe that will shed some light. And I was going to bring up the whole thing about the Pilots, the nature center and the boardwalk there. And I saw that kind of ended up last. And I just was wondering, I know there were factors in terms of safety and whatnot, but I'm just wondering how much credence or how much weight should be given to safety, because that's a boardwalk that's quite slippery, and they're patching it right now with shingles. I mean, I just was wondering how that kind of information gets inputted, and maybe it already did, and I didn't, and I don't know, but
The project
I
had no
realize they
funding.
don't have
Yeah,
other
no
funding.
funding, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
They
the
have
problem. It had
yeah,
no funding
so-
at all.
No
It
reserves.
wanted
Yeah.
a grant, it was trying for a grant and it didn't get the grant. And
Right,
so it
right.
basically pushed it all the way to the bottom.
Right. So I just don't know how, how you consider that particular safety issue. So that's my
Yeah.
only comment there.
Should safety or liability concerns.
Yes, and I did think about liability, does that put us in an issue? How do you evaluate that?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, we
that, I
had
mean,
that discussion last year, I remember, because we talked about it with the library and the items that are on the project for next year, actually, and the following year, were safety and liability related because they're related to the entranceway and the deterioration of the ramp and frankly, doesn't meet the slope requirements for a handicap ramp. So we did take it into account. I just
and the
don't
original,
know.
model
Mm.
criteria was supposed to, I don't know, give an even balance, but a balance between the reasons like safety or regulatory or risk versus the funding, right? So, if you're heavy on either one of those, hopefully you get boosted up higher. And if
Right.
you cover both of them, you really rise up. And so, I think it is safety and it got the points there, but it had,
No
everything from the annual budget or whatever. So it was,
Yeah. It was
it
like
really
zero
just
dollars.
stayed at the bottom.
So whatever we do doesn't preclude the select board from making the final determination anyway. That's correct, isn't it? We're recommending body.
That's correct.
Right. And we don't know if if that's replacement or whether there's another number that is for repair. In the worst spots, right, to reduce risk, and maybe that's $10,000 or $5,000, I don't know. But, that's not the way it comes through from the departments. So we don't really know.
Good work.
Yeah,
All right, any
yeah.
other comments or questions about the ranking model?
Ma-
Go ahead, Pat.
We lost.
Pat,
Was,
you
There she
were
is.
fading, Pat, you were fading in and out. so
yeah,
you
I'm
might wanna
probably, I'm
She's back.
fade out, right? I'll just, I'll hold off, thanks. I'm not, we don't have a very good reception here, so I'll just listen.
That's too bad.
Okay, if you feel you want to communicate something, if there's another way, either text or
Text.
some other way, if you're able to, I'm not sure who's driving, but, you can certainly do that as well.
Yeah, no, I'm not driving. Yeah, so I mean, maybe is this those departments and committees and tell them where their project they can
How they scored?
How they scored.
but if they, yeah, to see, if they want to reconsider or, I don't know. It has to be in the process. You can't be uh, really reflect on some of the important issues that they should have provided. So, with that, I'll just stop.
Do you think the Parks and Rec will go back after they found out they didn't get the grant and adjust this in any way, or?
I could,
Take it
we're
off.
meeting on Tuesday, I can ask them.
I did reach out to Jean, and so she and I have been talking about it, and and I think you guys are gonna discuss it on Tuesday, and we talked about having some kind of presentation to the select board, so can you do it in a 2-year phase, so it's not 45,000 in 1 year? Can you break it down? Can you, and I was talking to Carl today and he said, can we grade it? Are there other options? I mean, I don't know. I haven't walked there in a while, so I don't know what the issue is.
Part of it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, part of it is a designated wetland from the state's perspective. And,
Which is why there's a boardwalk to walk over it,
right,
right?
and there's some question of some members of the environmental community that maybe there shouldn't be a boardwalk there at all. So there's a lot more wrapped up into that than simply just the finances or how to do or what to do. There's probably some, a dozen different perspectives on it, depending on who we're talking to, but we can certainly, as I said, the Parks and Rec Committee is meeting on Tuesday evening next week, and we'll
Discuss
discuss
that.
it.
Yeah, and it's on the, so those kind of topics come up to the select board at the October meeting when we start doing the budgeting.
Yep.
Those kind of odd things that kind of need to be discussed and ironed out. So, yeah.
But right now, our recommendation stands based upon the model and the submission because we're in a cycle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So You're right, they have to go right to the select board, yeah.
I had one more question just before we completely get off the ranking model. So do we feel like we have weightings for some of these other categories? Do we feel that there's a weighting for the time horizon? So do we feel like things that are in the current, that in the first year of the budget get a slightly higher weighting than the things that are 3 or 4 years out?
Is that necessary? Because if it's 3 or 4 years out, then it's probably not going to be considered for this year's budget anyways, correct?
It might not be, but that would, the model would then score it a little bit differently since it's, not a current budget item.
One of the things that we found was even in the library, even the small projects are hard to put a number on them because the pricing changes so significantly. And so I would have a tendency, if I was submitting a large project, to overinflate the number just to manage it, frankly. So I don't know how that plays into weighting something that has a longer run out. Does that make any sense to anybody?
So, well, that's a second thing. So I think Frank is saying, so a project that will be done in a certain fiscal year, but that's 3 years out, maybe gets a different weighting. I think, Angie, what you talked about was a project that's going to take 18 months rather than 6 months. And so should that get a different
No,
consideration?
I was talking about, so we know that we resubmit this every year. This is a rolling 5-year budget, but you can move it forward unless you have a long-term project. You could have a different list every year. I mean, it may
Right.
work out. I'll use the library next year. Maybe the outdoor area, sprucing it up is going to cost us more than $20,000, and the board might say, "Oh yeah, we can't do that," and so that nicks it entirely. So I'm talking about those projects that are multi-year projects, but they may be heavier weights at the end of the year. We still need to know what that dollar amount is and have some relative confidence in it, because how else I don't know how we'd weight that. That's my question. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah, I think one of the purposes of this committee and having this information is that, so if we know that there's a large ticket item that's gonna need to be replaced in 5 years, let's say, but the town may decide, the select board may decide to start putting some money aside in anticipation or knowing that, that
Right.
the snowplow or the roof or whatever it might be is gonna need to be paid for in a certain time period.
So you're just talking about the list being extended out, not the cost of the project necessarily.
Right. Because they may not know the full cost, but they know that there's gonna be a big number or a number of a
Something.
certain size coming up
Yeah.
in 3 years.
No, that's obvious. I
It
agree
may
with
not be
that.
urgent, but they may be
Right.
squirreling money away along the way to pay
Exactly.
for it.
Yeah, no, I got that. I'm sorry. I misunderstood what we were talking about.
So Frank,
right.
to your point, I think it would complicate the model and without a lot of benefit. Just my personal sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to item number 6, approve capital improvement plan. Appendix E, 5-year capital improvement plan, 2025.
So it has 6 years because it has the current year we're in, just so that we could keep track of the projects that are coming up or happening this year. And then the next 5 years. So the 1-year capital budget would be for fiscal year 27. So fiscal year 26 is what we're currently in. We're preparing for fiscal year 27. So you'll see 5 years out what's been planned.
For my benefit, thank you.
Are there any comments or questions or discussion points? Anyone?
As far as the fire station, the public works garage, I kind of guessed what would fall in 26 and what would fall in 27. It's projected to be done by Thanksgiving of 27. So I don't know what those breakdown of expenses are, but I just took a guess. Um,
Pat, are you able to, or have you seen this document? And do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, no, I've seen it. Thank you. I don't have any comments right now. Thank you.
Okay. Jim or Angie?
Nope, I'm good, thanks.
Right.
I'll show you a quickie. So for fiscal 26, fiscal 27, the red numbers at the bottom, the 15,000 variance and the 43,000 variance, that's the amount that would have to then be added to the budget to cover.
yes, the general fund, yes, to cover.
Yep, okay.
Yep,
I
that, there
think
was
that,
no, there was no funding set aside for or planned for. So yes, that is showing what we're short.
yeah, I like that. It really highlights the impact on the budget, which,
And pretty much for this fiscal year, it's that we're in 26, it's the radar signs for the village that they're looking into, and then in 27, it's the Pilots Bay Boardwalk.
right.
So those were the two items that we haven't planned for funding, so.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good.
So if everyone approves of this or doesn't want any changes or thinks it's okay, we'll forward it to the planning commission for their feedback. Pat, did they happen to talk about this last night? Have you guys talked about it at all? No,
No, we really didn't talk about it, to be honest. We were talking about the beginning of the, you know, the town plan, our work that's gonna begin on that. So we didn't really, we didn't talk about the budget. But this, of course, will fit into the town plan, I would think.
Okay, so according to the timeline, it goes to the PC for their September meeting, so if everyone approves of this, we'll send it to them for some comment or,
Are we ready to take a vote on a motion to approve this document? Or does anyone have any questions or any more questions or comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion for approving the Appendix C 5-year capital improvement plan as presented and laid out by Lisa.
We'll make a motion to approve Appendix E, the 5-year capital improvement plan.
Give a second.
Second,
Angie, second. All right. All those in favor, if you could signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, aye.
Any abstentions, any nays? Okay, looks like the ayes have it. That motion passes. Thank you. So Lisa will send this on to the planning commission in preparation for their September meeting. Just remind me when that's held.
so that's held the night before ours,
Okay,
so the fourth Tuesday.
okay.
So our meeting will be the 24th, theirs is the 23rd.
So presumably we'll know their action from that meeting, or I guess, I'm just thinking out loud here, if somebody has questions in advance. Because they need to take action on that evening, correct, from the timeline?
Yeah, because
perspective?
when do we present it to the select board? So we present it to the first meeting in October to the select board.
do we need to do anything more formally in asking for their feedback or approval or?
I'll see Andy on Friday and talk to him and see how they want to handle it.
Something, because, yeah, that'd be good.
And so just to confirm, the vote for the fire station and the garage, is that the 15th of September? Or I probably had that wrong.
It is what the 50?
Are you asking about the vote, Pat?
I just was.
The bond meeting is the 15th, and then the vote's the 16th.
Did that answer your question, Pat?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay. All right,
Can I back up to,
Yeah.
I was supposed to ask about distributing the new CIP program. Now that it's been approved by the select board. Should we send that along with this to the PC? Or should we?
That's why not, I
I
can't
don't think
hurt,
so.
yeah,
With a new, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll
Whole
send
package.
yeah,
the whole thing. Okay,
and maybe just mention that the select board approved it.
approved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, item number 7, excuse me, municipal planning grant opportunity.
So this is a grant opportunity from Northwest Regional Planning or the Planning Commissions about a grant to, and one of the things are new or updated capital programs and budgets for infrastructure maintenance and improvements. And I was wondering if we would be interested in applying for this grant to maybe help us with the piece of equipment and facility maintenance and upkeep and kind of keeping these buildings. And now if we do get 2 new buildings, how we're gonna maintain those going forward. Cause that's still, Angie and you and I have talked about this piece and I didn't get to where I wanted to with those facility maintenance schedules and equipment maintenance schedules. So
They're kind of hanging out there. Yeah, I know.
they are kind of hanging out there.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
gonna become more and more important as evidenced by, yeah, some of our current buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
So will
So,
this be an application by the town of Northville?
yep. Mhm. Yeah, we'd have to get select board approval.
This would be like hire a consultant to help us work through
Right, the grant.
work through
Yeah.
that piece,
maintenance schedules and all
yeah.
Mhm.
Unless you guys have a better idea.
No, I don't have a better idea, I'm just wondering who would do the work on this, would it be somebody from? Well, I guess I'm not sure what department, who would?
Yeah,
Public Works.
Public
Public
Works.
Works?
Yeah.
Public Works would make sense from a,
that. I mean, do you think?
I don't
the
know
state
if we
has
have
any
enough-
resources on that because they have their trucks, their
Yeah, I have also, VLCT is doing a webinar on capital budgeting. And I don't know if it's tomorrow or if it's next week. I don't remember, but they've reached out because they really liked our capital improvement plan and they wanted some of our documentation. And one of them was the facility maintenance schedule and the equipment maintenance schedule. And I sent it to them and I said, we would love some feedback on how to, this is one piece that
Right.
is not quite complete and I would love some feedback or how to get that started. So we'll see. I just sent that this afternoon. So we'll see if they come back with something too on how to
Yeah,
kind of move
yeah.
that forward.
you kind of need an owner, whether they do the work or not. You need an owner of the,
Right.
Would
each
the-
entity needs to own it, needs to own their own part, but someone needs to oversee it.
Would any of this apply to the water department?
Um,
I'm just wondering, I'm thinking about when you talk about infrastructure and maintenance and improvements, when you think about what is the infrastructure that North Hero has?
oh, and definitely the water system is a big piece of that.
Huge.
And we have an asset management plan in place.
I just wonder, I'm trying to think of people to bring to the table that
Yeah.
can provide some
Right.
assistance as opposed to like having it all fall on you for you.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean,
I
we
think
know,
that, and remember the community hall, maybe we didn't share it here, but they did a lovely plan for maintenance upkeep, and you're seeing it reflected in the capital budget. None of the libraries tried to follow that, but, there are lots of pieces and parts. It's, HVAC, well, you guys know, HVAC
Yeah.
and windows. It's not just sewers and water lines, which we know is a big full-time job.
I mean, if you get a cover, right? You get a-
Carpet. Yeah,
You get a maintenance schedule or something from the manufacturer saying, so long, change the plugs, but I haven't seen that for a building yet.
Yeah, no,
This is a depreciation schedule or something, or
right.
something that lays out.
And how to plan out this, mostly the public works equipment so that
Yep.
it's staggered and replaced and, maintained and that kind of thing. And,
everything with it, with the buildings,
so
the big
if
ones.
you
yeah.
all agree, I'll ask the select board if they will approve it. And, I think the application opens on September 1st.
The deadline is Deadline for RPC confirmation of municipal planning process.
So November 3rd, application deadline,
Sure.
so we've got a couple months to,
Mhm.
and I'll see if I can get some more information as far as what the questions are and.
Great.
It also
Okay.
says that if you have any questions to, wish to talk through project ideas, please contact the people that's.
So I could do that
Yeah,
too, yeah.
Because looking at the list of projects, Route 2 distribution line replacement, well, that's maintenance. Water storage tank, that's improvement. Fire hall, that's improvement. Public works garage, that's improvement. I mean, almost every project on our list seems to fall under that category
Mhm.
of improvements or new, because I think that was, let me go back to the document. What
Yeah.
does it say?
Some of these things you need the experts on, right? We need Brian on the water department who's
Right.
run a municipal water system
System,
before,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
he should have an idea of how long the valves last or the pumps or
Yeah.
whatever they are.
And I think that asset management plan that the engineers did came up with all that they should be replaced. There's a replacement schedule as part of that asset management plan. We paid for that to have them do that. And there was a grant, so we got it all done. So but that's kind of what we need for the rest of this.
We need the
For all the rest of the buildings, yes.
Right,
Particularly
yeah.
the two big ones on the list. Yeah.
So the big push with the state and VLCT is with all this flooding that's been happening and FEMA probably not going to be a resource, that you really have to take care of things yourself and have a plan, which is why they're pushing all this capital budgeting and capital improvement planning, and because they want these towns and cities to be able to react and have a plan in place.
I'm just reading this and I was about to mention this before you mentioned the word flood, Lisa. I'm wondering if there's gonna be a bent
For those that have been flooded.
that are flood related or flood related or flood mitigation or whatever. And so what I'm thinking is if there's any way to tie any projects that we decide to come up with, somehow getting the word flood mentioned in
It
there
would help us,
would help.
probably,
Argument.
but I have
2011.
found and heard that there are a lot of grants for things like this out there, but municipalities just don't have the capacity to manage them or apply for them or to do the work that's associated with them. So those towns that need this, just are not applying.
Yeah,
So
can't hurt.
it can't hurt, right? And I have no idea how much do we even ask for. Maybe that's one of the questions we can say. I don't even know how much it would cost us to get somebody to help us to do that, or who we would even get to do that.
I'm gonna ask you the next question because it talks also about a consortium of towns, multi-town applications. I'm wondering if again, making this up, if Grand Isle, South Hero, North Hero, Auburn or
We all
Alamo
got together and,
got together and if there was a plan that applied for $45,000, for example, that was going to have somebody assist
all of us.
a wider network, that might, if I was looking at evaluating proposals, I would probably
See that, because you benefit more towns.
exactly getting more
Then,
bang for your buck.
I don't know that any of the other towns have a capital improvement plan program.
Yeah.
I get the sense you don't necessarily have to have a bunch of fancy maintenance plans and stuff like that. I think my sense is it's a project. I guess you'll see on September 1st when you look at what they asked for on the application form.
But that could also be a conversation with these two people.
These two people that are, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys feel it's worthwhile, I'll pursue it. I'll keep looking into it.
I
Let's
think-
do.
My
Yeah,
perspective
got
is
the
so
time.
far.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. Anytime there's free money, right? Try to go for it. You think Carl would have any input on the building side of things?
Possibly.
Somebody that could
Possibly.
run this for the building piece, and it's mostly buildings and grounds, and maybe the last piece is, the vehicles or whatever is easier.
Yeah. Jim, are you on board?
Oh, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, and as I said, September 1st, when you see is it a 1-page application or a 28-page application?
Yeah,
And
that-
never one page.
Yeah, well. we'll-
Angie?
we'll see.
Yep. You okay? Pat?
Yeah, no, I think it's a terrific idea, and I love the idea of involving the other towns. If that could at all work out, I think that's a very powerful thought.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Thank you, Lisa.
then I'll keep you updated.
Cool.
Good, thank you.
All right, item number 8, timeline review.
which we kind of already did, so. You've approved it. We're gonna present it to the planning commission at their September meeting. We present it to the select board at the first meeting in October. And then,
I'm sorry for interrupting. Does somebody need to be at the planning meeting?
no, I'll talk to Andy and see what he says, because Pat, you know, now that Pat's on the planning
Right.
commission, so.
Okay.
And Pat, maybe, you know, if you want some support or help, I'm happy to go, or, you know.
I think we could, maybe we'll talking to Andy if he has a sense, and then, I mean, I could always probably be available on it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, and they meet at 7, I think, right, Pat? Planning commission, I think, meets at 7.
Okay,
So,
then you were still talking to Lisa when I interrupted you.
yeah, no, and then we'll have to get ready for our presentation to the select board in October, so that'll be part of the next meeting,
Do we
so.
know what, date in October that'll be?
Their meeting is on the 6th. Their the
Wow.
first meeting in October is October 6th.
That's a pretty quick turnaround. Yeah. Since we have
From
a
the planning
meeting,
commission, yeah.
well, from our meeting, yeah, from both meetings, yeah.
6, is that a Monday?
Mhm. So it's the Monday after our meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, there's a week between. Our meeting's on the 24th of
Oh, there's-
September.
oh,
Yeah,
you're right. Yep, there is a
so we
week
have a full
between.
week, so.
okay.
That's
Uh,
good.
Does anyone have any questions or comments about the timeline? All right,
On schedule.
hearing none. Future agenda items.
So I think it's feedback from the
Planning
planning
committee,
commission. Yep,
presentation at the select board.
and presentation for the select board, and then I'll update on the grant.
I think that's a busy meeting.
Does can anyone else think of any other items? Maybe we can give an update on the Parks and Rec
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
project.
We'll also know about the bond vote,
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Days of vote.
It's Tuesday, the 16th.
Any other comments or questions from anyone? Pat?
I'm having, yeah, I didn't quite hear that. I'm sorry. It didn't come through.
We were just talking about the different agenda items for the next meeting. We have the feedback from the planning commission. The public safety bond, fire station bond vote. Update on the grant application that we just discussed. Updates on the Parks and Rec project. And this one,
Planning commission presentation,
planning commission
the select board,
presentation,
yep.
right, and select board.
presentation.
That's a lot. Sounds good. Sounds complete.
Okay. Anything else before I call for a motion to adjourn from anyone? Pat?
Nothing from me.
All right, take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Frank, do you have a second?
I second.
Jim, second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Any abstentions? All right, I think we're all set. Motion passes. Thank you, folks.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. President. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lisa, for
Bye-bye.
all your- Bye-bye, Pat. Thank you.
safe
Lisa, for all
travels,
your
Pat,
questions.
safe travels. Yep.